Hello everyone and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick and what we're going to talk about today, well, what do you think? But before we do, if you're new to the channel, please drop a like on it and subscribe. Why not subscribe? We're almost at 5k, so it'd be good to get us there. I think we're about 90 away or something like that. So yeah, if you're not subscribed at the moment and you are a watcher, yeah, just click that button for us because it does really help us. Okay. Before we get on to David Moyes and the news that's been peddled the last few days, a brief little chat about Larnaca last night. I thought it was okay. I've struggled to get enthusiastic about it at the moment with our Premier League position being so precarious. But it was nice to get a win. It was a very underwhelming sort of 30 minutes to start off with. It was played at sort of a training ground pace. Scored a couple of good goals, good ball in from Benny on the left-hand side for the first one. Really well finished off from a completely unmarked Mickey for the second one. I'm not discrediting his goals like some people have done, where they've come out and they've said he's found his level. Well, what does that mean? He's found his level, Who else looked good on that game? So because he scored 2 goals, did Scamacca score later on? No, he didn't. He looked disinterested. So why, when Antonio scores, people go, oh, well, it was crap opposition. But if it had been someone else, we'd have all been raving about it. If when Paqueta went through on goal, 1-on-1, he'd have clipped it over the keeper, in off the crossbar, would have all been saying, what a great goal. We wouldn't have been saying, oh, well, good goal, but shit opposition. We wouldn't have, would we? But because it's Antonio, there's a bit of an agenda against him at the moment. And that's what we've got to listen to. Second goal was great. I will hold my hands up and say that I don't think he'd get that much space over Hackney Marshes. I've got to be honest, the player just stood off of him and Antonio very cleverly used that player, bent it around him, and it was a beautiful finish, great strike. And he almost got the perfect hat-trick. Started the second half, went through on goal, clipped it with his left foot, and just off the inside of the post. So he almost got a really good hat-trick. So that'd be good for his confidence. I do think he's gone off injured though, which is a bit of a shame. Later on, Scamacca was introduced, and again, he did. He looks completely like he's done with us. I'm not going to have a go at the player. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's just going the same way. When you've got big, strong characters like that, once they've had enough, they've had enough. He looks like he's had enough. Just like Haller. Haller wanted to go. I think we're seeing the same with Scamacca now. I think if Moyes stays, Scamacca's gone. He's seen enough. I think he's seen enough. He's thinking my career's too short. I want to play in a team that plays to my strengths. So I don't blame him. It's got nothing to do with fitness, I don't think. Yeah, he might not be 100% fit, but his body language just weren't right. Same as a lot of the players weren't. I mean, we tried to play some sort of possession-based game at the start of that. I mean, we fielded. Obviously, we had Rice, Lanzini, Fornells in the team, and we were holding. I say we were holding the ball, but we were passing it, but we're just not progressive. Even when we're trying to play a possession-based game, we're not progressive. It's sideways and backwards. We don't know how to do it. We're not coached correctly. I've said it so many times. Our only chance, really, once you get to a certain level, yes, when you're playing against crap opposition like that, which make no bones about it, they were crap. I mean, it's not a good advert for this competition for me. When you see us playing teams like that, it's not at all. People are saying, winning this competition is going to, it would put David Moyes' name up in lights. Fucking do me a favour. I think I could win this competition with West Ham, with the players that we've got. Honestly, it is a complete mismatch. It's like sticking a heavyweight in the ring with a fucking featherweight. That's what it's like. So yes, we might later on in the competition, we might come up against someone half decent. You might come up against the Lazio, even though they lost their first leg. I don't know. Yeah, so we might have to beat 1 or 2 good teams to lift that trophy. But the only good thing about this trophy for me is that it gets us back into the Europa League next year. But there is no way we should be applying so much focus to this competition. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I know a lot of people, oh no, we want to cut. It's all about the cups. It's all about the cups. It's cups and there's cups. All right? This is great. This is a luxury tournament. Not for a team that are struggling to maintain their Premier League status. We're hovering above that relegation zone. We had to listen to the waffle from David Moyes after that disastrous Brighton game on Saturday, where he blamed the Man United game on the Wednesday, which was just 2 or 3 days earlier. The same gap as what he's going to have between Thursday, Sunday. He blamed the fatigue from Manchester on us being so poor in that game. It was nothing to do with him. It was just the fact that we played on Wednesday. But then, he saw fit. He did make changes. He made 7 changes. But that just fills me with dread, because the likes of Ben Rama are clearly not going to get played on the weekend. Souček's probably going to play. There are a lot of players that played in that game that I would like in the first team. I'd like to see Fornals back in. I'd even like to see Lanzini in. I don't think Paqueta has been pulling up many trees, so why should he command a first team berth at the moment? I really like Paqueta, but these first team places should be earned. It shouldn't just be on your status, on your name, on your value, or you're standing in David Moyes' inner circle. It should be earned, and this is where this season's gone so badly wrong. I think that's one of the main reasons, anyway. But yeah, look, we got to win 2-0. We should piss all over him in the second leg as well. It's not going to be much of a test, is it? So we'll go through it to the quarterfinals. Look, if we get to the final, I'm going to want us to win. Of course, I am. But at the moment, I can't get excited about it. Not while we are where we are. I'm only worried about Villa on the weekend. So hopefully we'll be all guns blazing, Moyes, come the weekend. But the reason for me making this video wasn't for the AEK Larnaca game, because like I say, I struggled to stay awake through that, even though there was 2 good goals. It was just dull. So I don't get the fuss around it. Unless you're travelling out to Europe, which not many West Ham fans are going to do. Not many West Ham fans have got the money to do it, to follow West Ham around Europe. So unless you're doing that, I don't see what the fuss is about playing AEK fucking Larnaca. I see what the fuss is about going and getting a couple of days away in the sun, but I don't see what the fuss is for watching crap like that. Not really. But like I say, we shall see. I mean, we had a couple of great nights last season, didn't we, with Sevilla and Lyon, so you can't knock it. But that was a different competition. This is the bottom of the pile. Make no bones about it. I know people say, a cup's a cup, but it's not the case, Winning the Conference League is not the same as winning the Europa League. Winning the Europa League is not the same as winning the Champions League. It's not. That's just my opinion, anyway, right? But let me know in the comments if you disagree with me being a miserable bastard about the Europa Conference League. Okay, on to... It was all triggered off by Jim White yesterday morning. He said that he spoke to a senior source that we all know to be David Sullivan, who came out and said that there was every likelihood that should we get relegated and not win this Conference League, there's every chance that David Moyes will still be here next year. Every chance. Is Sullivan's obviously spoken to White and he's authorised that message to be aired. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to create another Burnley? Do they want to switch this on the fans? Do they want to blame the fans for a failure? Because this is what's going to happen. And then that was followed up by Karen Brady. That was followed up by Karen Brady on BBC 4, I think it was. I think I've got a quote here. She said, "I can't put any pressure on David Moyes because he puts enough on himself. The really important thing for us is for everyone to stick together and be really focused and understand what the issues are. It's been disappointing after 2 great seasons and the success we've had in Europe. Fuck off. Things haven't gone the way we wanted. We've spent an extraordinary large amount of money in the summer. Undoubtedly, it takes people time to settle in and create a new way of playing with such a lot of new players. They really don't get the problem, do they? As owners, we're not hire and fire types. We like to give people our support. And we believe that David Moyes is as enthusiastic, as driven, and as passionate for the club. And we hope that the supporters are as well. Hopefully things will turn. Hopefully things will keep improving. Keep improving. What the fuck are you talking about, Brady? Do you even watch the games anymore? Do you even care? But again, that just reinforces the message that Jim White was given by David Sullivan. So they're peddling this narrative that when we could get beat against Villa, we could get beat against Southampton, we could, after the international break, he's here, we've got him. And then to make matters worse, there's every chance we could be keeping David Moyes next season. Now, how does that make you feel? Honestly, how does that make you feel? First of all, I don't buy it. I think this is just a public puff piece because they desperately don't want to have to sack him, but they will. But what they're doing is because they want him to succeed, they're giving him a foundation. They're making it publicly They're making everyone aware that they've got his back. That's what they're doing because they want to give him the best possible chance of pulling us through this. I do believe if we lose against Villa, I have to believe that they're going to let him go. Because what then? What then? Are we just accepting relegation? Are we? And then what? We're just gonna paper over the cracks with this European competition, and then try and play in the Europa League next year once all of our other players have disappeared and gone. Is that what we're going to try and do when we're playing in the Championship? When you've already got more games anyway, we'll be playing 3 games a week if we're playing European football down there. That's going to go well, won't it? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I've said everything that can be said about David Moyes. I don't even think it's debatable. I don't even think it's worth debating. You know, the guy is just a cancer for this football club. I truly believe that. I think he's awful. And obviously, the people that are running the club are even worse. They're even worse because they're happy with this. They're happy to be putting us through this as fans. You know? And I know that might come across as entitled. Oh, look at the last few years you've had. Do you know what? We just want to watch good football. I don't care. I don't want to get rid of David Moyes to win trophies. I'm not a Tottenham fan. All I want to do is enjoy watching my team play a game of football. When I went away to Brighton last weekend, there was only one team playing football on that pitch. Only one. Now, if it's wrong of me, if it's entitled of me to want more than that, then so be it. But for me, that is... It's a type of football that's just eventually it's going to make me fall out of love with the game. And I've actually said in the WhatsApp group, and I don't know whether I'll follow it through. I don't know whether I can. But at this moment in time, it's a way that I feel. I feel that passionately about it. And I truly believe if he was to get us relegated and they kept him, I don't know if I could carry on next year. Not just talking about the channel. I'm talking about following West Ham in general. If that makes me a poor fan, I don't know. But I've supported West Ham my whole life. I've only let my season ticket go. I was a lifelong season ticket holder. I let that go during lockdown. Still go to a lot of the games, home and away. But I don't know. It's like a gradual thing for me. This is. I'm starting to. I feel like I'm starting to fall out of love with the club. It started with the move. I started to feel differently after the move, and I've fought it and I fought it. But then you get this. You get them rubbing your nose in the fact that we've just got to accept this shit. And I just don't think we do have to accept it. You don't have to accept it. You know, it's a choice. They don't understand that. You know, you've got a 60,000 seater stadium there that they've got to try and fill, and we don't have to go. We don't have to. Yeah, and it's a horrible thing to say. Like I say, it's all I've ever known, all I've ever thought about and spoken about is West Ham since I was a kid. I've never known any different. You know, I'm 43 now, so fuck knows what I'd do at the weekends. I've still got my son's football team, but I can't keep putting myself through this because it's making me miserable. It's making me miserable. The club are making me miserable. It's genuinely like not. I can deal with angry. You know, if you get the roller coaster of emotions and it's mixed in with joy and stuff like that. That's always been life as a West Ham fan. But we've always had hope. What they're doing is they're removing hope. They're removing hope. We've got a manager that removes hope on the lead up to a game. He doesn't raise your expectations. He lowers them just in case it goes bandy. We've got a board that are trying to lower our expectations as well. You know, telling us how grateful we should be. Well, I'm not grateful for anything, thanks. You know, you've got the manager coming out belittling the fans. You know, fans that follow him everywhere. Fans that follow him all across Europe as well. Even though this one weren't too bad because the weather over here compared to the weather in Cyprus, I wish I was out there with those fans. But look, to finish this off, I'm going to read you an article written back in written back on January the 16th by a Sunderland fan, and it's a chap called Michael Graham, and the title is "Why David Moyes Will Get No Sympathy from Sunderland Fans When the West Ham Axe Falls," and this was just before the Everton game. Right, so it's not long. Just bear with me. Because there are things in this that he writes here that it's comparable, and I don't overlook the failure at Sunderland. I never have done. I think it was a failure, a big one, but David Moyes has been given a pass. So anyway, look, here we go. So former Sunderland boss David Moyes appears to be on the brink of the sack at West Ham, with the club reportedly already considering replacements. Now Moyes has rebuilt his career with the Hammers, guiding them into Europe on 2 occasions. But a run of just 1 point in their last 7 games has left them in the Premier League relegation zone, despite a summer spent of more than 100 million. Well, it's way more than that. It's 180 million. Now, according to the report in the Telegraph, West Ham are now actively considering replacements with Nuno Espirito Santo. We've heard the names. The good news for Moyes is that his next game is against Everton, who appear to be even worse than them, and so it proved. If or when Moyes does get sacked, there will be little sympathy for him on Weir's side. I speak only for myself, but no figure at the club in my time supporting Sunderland has got under my skin in a negative way like Moyes did. I just missed that Laurie McMenemy era at Sunderland with my first game in October 1987, but I certainly feel about Moyes similarly to how my parents felt about McMenemy. The disrespect with which Moyes treated Sunderland, acting like the club was beneath him from day one and declaring a hopeless relegation battle after just 2 games. The way he made Sunderland an old social club for his ageing former Everton teammates, people like Stephen Pienaar, Jolyon Lescott and Darren Gibson. The way he spoke down to supporters after each and every one of his failures. Sound familiar? The way he prostrated my football club before John Terry and offered it up as a part of his retirement nonsense at Stamford Bridge. I remember that. That was cringe. The way he paid actual money for Donald Love, the ultimate that'll-do signing, because apparently it was all Sunderland were worth. The way he took a really likeable and talented bunch of players that Sam Allardyce had assembled and stopped managing them to the point where they were useless. He destroyed Jan Kirchhoff, humiliated Wabby Khazri, allowed Lamina Kone to essentially go on strike, and ignored Jan Villa to the point he expressed his heartbreak on Instagram. The way he made Didier Ndong my club's record signing and then complained to everyone who'd listened that he didn't have any money. And then even after he left, he annoyed me, always seemingly rallying his friends in the media to paint him as the victim of Sunderland by airbrushing us from his career like he was so up against it and it just didn't matter. Poor David Moyes. The way he always spoke about Sunderland and acted towards the club was that he took over a lost cause and everyone should be grateful to the mighty David Moyes for doing it a favour. And that's certainly how the narrative has gone all the way through. However, the reality is, Moyes took over a good Sunderland side that had been in the league in the Premier League for 10 years. It was a good side left by Sam Allardyce, and he discarded it and he dismantled it piece by piece until there was nothing left to salvage. All of that inside a year, and we went down with a whimper. There are a lot of people who have done wrong by Sunderland in my lifetime, but none, in my opinion at least, as intentionally disrespectfully as David Moyes. And if he is about to finally get found out at West Ham, then it's not before time. Now, I'm not being funny. There are a lot of things that Graham says in that article that will echo with us, the things that we're seeing now in post-match press conferences, the way he refers to West Ham when he's doing his podcasts and stuff like that. He's setting himself up for his next move. He's making his excuses for the failure now. That's what he's doing. And that's what he did when he was at Sunderland. You know, because ultimately, I'm not being funny. When was that? What was it, 6 years ago? He got Sunderland relegated. People talk about his legacy in that period being, he got West Ham to a European semi-final that he bottled and he got 6th and 7th place finishes. No, Moyes. You're running the risk of your legacy of killing 2 Premier League football clubs that had been in the league for more than Premier League for more than 10 years, and not just taking them down with a whimper and killing them financially, because Sunderland backed you financially more than any manager before him. And guess what West Ham have done? West Ham have backed you financially more than any manager before you as well. We've given you 300 million over 3 years, way more, probably more than our last 3 managers combined. We've given you so much money. You know, Mikel Arteta hasn't spent as much as you in that same period. And all you do is you plead poverty and you never take responsibility. There's always an excuse. I'm sick of you, Moyes. I'm sick of you. And I'm sick of you, Sullivan. I'm sick of Brady. I'm sick of everything at the West Ham at the minute. And I'm really, really not that far away, sadly. Look, it's probably nonsense. I'm probably just sulking. I've had these moments before. But I don't think that I could do this next season. I couldn't come on here talking about this, David, because I can't support him. If this is all being served up, I can't support him. I'm an honest chap. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I won't just pander to people. If this is what we're going to get served up forever, I don't think I'd be able to continue with it. And watching West Ham on a regular basis, well, I think if it weren't for the channel already, I think I'd have been missing a few games this year, and I mean just blocking them out completely, just not even watching them. I think it's only the channel that's kept me interested in the last few months, to be honest. And that's horrific for me to say that, you know, because like I say, I'm a fanatic. I can't be on my own. It's getting harder and harder to watch us. It's heartbreaking. So look, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, well, first of all, hopefully West Ham get a win against Aston Villa because we want to maintain our Premier League status, right? But then if we don't, which I suspect that we won't, because if this is a must-win game, this is the first time that David Moyes has had a must-win game against a good team. These Villa are a good team. And if we play anything like we did against Larnaca, we're going to get served up. And, you know, Brighton was bad enough. Spurs was bad enough as well. But we're going to have to be on top of our game because Villa are a good team. They've got some good players. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. So look, a usual happy video from me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, as I said at the start, please subscribe. And we will be back at the weekend. So that's it from me. Come on, you irons.